This is Graham from Knight's Writing Company, and once again I'm out and about in the beautiful forests, and this time Merrickville, Ontario. Absolutely stunning out here, completely quiet, nobody around, and we just thought we'd take a little bit of time away from the office, but hey, time to get back and do a review of Kaweco's Liliput. Here I am again at my writing desk, and Sammy's just sitting there below me. So excuse us if there's any dog noises coming. I'm really looking forward to this video on Kaweco's Liliput because Kaweco was one of the first manufacturers that we approached as a fledgling fountain pen company here in Canada, and they were one of the ones that welcomed us with open arms. Several of the manufacturers and distributors that we approached kind of turned us down as somebody who wanted to get into the business. But Kaweco were just amazing and were really happy to let us purchase some of their products and put them on the website. The other reason I'm super excited is because we have this copper Liliput here, which is beautiful and shiny, except every time I pick it up it gets finger marks on. And I'm looking forward to using this as a trial pen over the next couple of weeks to see how this marks up. Now, one of the things you got to know about the Kaweco fountain pens is a lot of them are made from fairly raw metals. We have the AL Raw Sport, we have this copper, and we have several other pens that are actually designed to sort of mark up and get fingerprints and scratches on them as you use them. And that patina is part of Kaweco's thing, if you will. And it's something that I really like because the pen becomes super individual to you, and it's just nice to see the scratches and the marks develop on it over time. Now, some people don't like that, so whatever you do, if you don't like that, don't buy these pens. Simple as that. We have here we have the Kaweco Fire Blue, Liliput Fire Blue. We have the brass wave, the stainless steel, and the copper, as I mentioned. And they also have a black Liliput and a silver Liliput as well. We don't have those in store now, but they are going to be on order pretty soon. So first of all, let's compare the size of the Liliput with some of the other regular size pens. Here we got a TWSBI Eco, we have a Pilot Metropolitan, we have a Kaweco AL Sport. And down here we have the big brother of the Liliput, I guess, the Supra. So the Supra Fire Blue, the Supra Brass, and the Supra Stainless Steel. You can see the Liliput is tiny compared to the other pens. It's thin, but it's also very, very small as well. So if you don't really like small pens, consider staying away from the Liliput. If you're open to small pens and you want one that's going to, stick in your bag and pretty easily, or your pocket, and be easy to carry around without too many leaks, then certainly consider the Liliput. Now let's compare the nib size of the Liliput with some of the other pens. You can see the Supra here has a really big nib on it. This is a Kaweco 250 nib. And the TWSBI is also a sort of average size nib on the Eco there. Now the Kaweco Liliput is a screw cap first off, and actually has the kind of size nib that you're going to find on the typical Kaweco Sport. Now this is actually not small. It looks small and maybe it feels small, but once you actually start to write with it, it feels like a regular size fountain pen nib. And this is a Kaweco 060 nib, and this is the nib that you're going to find on majority of the Kaweco pens. In order to write with the Liliput, you can see that it's actually really tiny here. It is expected to be posted on the back, and it has a wonderful mechanism where you can screw the cap onto the back of the pen, and lo and behold, now you have a full-size pen. Albeit thin, little shorter than some, but you can compare to the TWSBI there, or even the Supra. Actually, it's pretty much the same length as the Supra. Now, one of the things that I really like about Kaweco pens is the mechanism that they use for the nibs on the premium fountain pens. So not the plastic sports, but the premium pens like the Liliput. They have a screw-in mechanism whereby you can easily screw out the nib here and replace it with another one. So for example, over here, I have, what is this? It's a double broad nib, and it comes in this little case here, and oh, it's a gold one as well. And I can take out the old nib and I can screw in the new nib here. And as long as you get the right size nib, 060, it's so easy to take nib out and put a new one in. It's just a beautiful mechanism. You can get calligraphy nibs, broad nibs, extra fine nibs, whichever kind of nibs you want. And that's one of the things I love about Kaweco. Now, it also does take international standard cartridges. One thing to be to notice with the Liliput is because it's such a short pen, it doesn't fit a regular converter. It also won't fit the standard Sport Mini converter, but you can use the Kaweco squeeze converter, which I'll show you in just a second. So let's talk a little bit about cartridges and converters. When you buy a Liliput, you will get one standard international cartridge like this one here, and you can use any brand. You can use Kaweco's, they have a range of colors, or you can use any other brand that's international standard. It really doesn't matter. But the important thing is if you want to use bottled ink, there's a couple of things you got to be aware of. This is a standard Kaweco converter that you'd use in some of their pens like the DIA2, the full-size pens, the students, etc. This is really cool. It's the Sport Mini converter. It's a piston that fits in the shorter pens, and this is a standard Kaweco squeeze converter. Now, let's take a look and see which ones of these fit, because this is important here. Clearly the standard converter, it's too long. You could probably get it in the pen. I'm not even sure it would close, but forget it. It's not going to work, so we'll throw that over there. The Sport Mini converter, it will actually fit into the pen, and you can actually pull it back to fill it with ink, but be aware, if you can see that there, well, let me hold that a little bit there, be aware that that piston mechanism is going to be too long for the pen. So as soon as you put that on and screw it down, you're going to end up with inky fingers for sure. Put that aside there. The only thing you're really left with is the standard squeeze converter. That will fit because it's about the same size as an international cartridge, and it's a bladder mechanism, so you can squeeze the ink like that. Now it takes a little bit of practice to fill this from a bottle, but it's well worth it because it's actually a very reliable converter, and that will fit pretty happily on the Kaweco there. Just gives you a couple of options different than international cartridge. You could also reuse your old cartridges as well. Some folks will inject ink back into a cartridge once they've used it, they've cleaned it, and that's a great way of using bottled ink if you don't want to use a squeeze converter. You can also buy a couple of cool toys for your Liliput if you wanted to. Two of these are little cases. They're really cool actually, and the pen just fits in there and just protects your pen a little bit when you carry it around. It's a bit of a tight fit, but actually I've had one of these for some time and I really enjoy using it. The other thing you can get as well is a clip. Kaweco have these amazing clips that are either nostalgic or standard clips for sports. They come in different colors, blacks, gold trim, chrome trim. They also come in brass now as well, and this one is a brass one, which is for the Liliput, and that fits onto the cap really nicely. It's a bit of a squeeze. Once it's on there though, it looks really cool. It wouldn't fit on the back. It slides around a little bit, but of course you want to clip your pen in your pocket and have it facing upwards so the ink doesn't leak out. So just a couple of options there for pouches and a clip and bits and pieces that can go with your Liliput. Now, of course, the most important question is how well does this pen write? And I can actually tell you it writes pretty well, but let's have a go here. I'm already ruining my copper Kaweco Liliput. Now, I did mention stay away from these if you didn't like your pens marked up, but it is only a number of them that do, and this is one of them, stainless steel and a brass wave and the fire blue actually don't mark up too badly. Hopefully this guy will. I'm really looking forward to using it in the next couple of weeks. So let's take a look. I'll write my usual sentence. Beautiful. Okay, so this is a fine nib with diamine blue black, which is one of my favorites. And as you can tell, I was writing it. It isn't too short if I have the cap on. If I don't have the cap on, you know, it's going to be quite awkward to handle for me. I've got big hands. If you've got small hands, it might be okay. But this is really comfortable when you've got the cap posted on the back. Absolutely love it. Let's compare that with another fine pen, which is the Pilot Metropolitan, which I've compared with another pen in the past. Let's take a look at that one. Nice, very nice. Actually, the two are very comparable in terms of width. Now again, this is Japanese. It should be a little finer. It's a Japanese fine. This is German fine, and there's not a lot in them actually. They're both extremely comfortable pens to use, and I'm very much going to look forward to throwing my Kaweco Liliput around and seeing what it looks like in a couple of weeks. I will be sure to post a video and let you know, and you can see for yourself. So I figured I'd do my outro here as well, and ask you to hit the subscribe button and join us on the next video. It's absolutely stunning here. We're having a great time in this beautiful weather. There's Ling. Hi Ling, wave. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.